Tim Bradley and Diego Chaves fight to a 12-round split decision draw. A lot of people feel that Tim Bradley was hard done by in terms of this decision. They felt that Bradley did win the fight fairly comfortably, including the HBO team at ringside. They all felt that Bradley had done enough to win the fight. And the common consensus I'm seeing online from people on Facebook is that Bradley really got robbed and he should have got the decision. Bradley himself in a post-fight interview said that he felt he won the fight fairly comfortably, but it is what it is. Diego Chaves, obviously, he says he won the fight. He says it was close, but he feels he won it. What do you feel about the decision? Do you think that Tim Bradley was hard done by? Early in the fight, Bradley was boxing, but Chaves' counter-punching ability is underrated. And I said this before the fight. He does throw nice, sharp counters and he's dangerous, especially early on in the fight. That's also what Keith Thurman said, that Chaves is very sharp and dangerous early on. And because of that, because of the fact that he was sharp and dangerous early in the fight, Bradley, on the, with the instructions of his corner, decided to come on the inside and smother Diego Chaves, push him back. Bradley was landing good body shots. And I thought he was pretty effective on the inside. But once he'd done his work with the body shots and Chaves has slowed up a little bit, later on in the fight, Bradley decided to move around the ring and go back to his boxing. And Bradley, at some point in the fight, received a swollen eye, a badly damaged eye. It was swelling quite badly. Chaves was targeting that eye. And I feel maybe Chaves won last couple rounds. But overall, me personally, I felt that Bradley won the fight. But it was one of those fights where some of the rounds were close and they were swing rounds. They could have gone either way. But the impression that I had watching it is that Bradley did enough to win the fight. How do you feel about the decision? Do you think that Bradley won, or do you think a draw was fair? And where do you see both these fighters going forward in their careers? Who would you like to see Tim Bradley fight next? Do you think it's a good idea for him to step up to junior middleweight, as he's been toying with that idea of stepping up to junior middleweight? I'm not so sure about that. Bradley's a small guy. People don't seem to realize how small Tim Bradley is in terms of his stature anyway. Maybe not in terms of his weight, because he's an okay size welterweight. He's fairly small, but he's okay these days. He certainly, on fight night, he's over 150 pounds. So he's maybe kind of size that Mayweather is as a welterweight, but obviously much shorter. It's the dimensions of Tim Bradley that are the problem. He's a very short guy. And you saw Diego Chaves fight Keith Thurman, and they were kind of the same height. Same with the Brandon Rios fight. But look at Bradley against Diego Chaves. I mean, Chaves looked like a basketball player in there against Tim Bradley. He was so much taller. So, yeah, I think Bradley's going to struggle in terms of his dimensions. And he's not a puncher as well. That's another thing that doesn't bode well for him, stepping up to 154 pounds, not being a puncher. I think he's probably targeting a fight with Canelo, because we know that Canelo is on HBO now, and Golden Boy and Top Rank have at least said publicly that they're willing to work together now. So a Canelo-Bradley fight, I think that may be possible. That may be possible. We obviously have to see what happens with Canelo against Miguel Cotto. But if Canelo comes through that fight, you could potentially see a Canelo versus Bradley, or maybe even Bradley versus Miguel Cotto. And that's a fight actually Bradley's talked about. So either or, depending on who wins the fight and who looks good. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on the fight. Drop your comments below. Let me know how you felt about the decision and Bradley's performance. Bradley's always been a versatile fighter. He gets it in. He knows how to fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. He's a very good rounded fighter without doing anything exceptional. That's how Tim Bradley is. And he showed a bit of everything tonight. But unfortunately, he only got a draw rather than a victory. Let me know how you feel about it. This is Hatman. I'm out.